Hey everybody, Phil here with Paint Pouring by Kathleen Miller. This is my third video, although I'm not going to actually be doing a pour today, but I'm going to do the intro to the crazy experiment that I've come up with last night. And I'm calling it a barrier pour. Okay, and what I mean by a barrier pour is I've got a plain canvas here and I put some stuff on there. It's actually this golden gel medium extra coarse pumice gel. Let it harden, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a tree ring pour, and because we have barriers here, that should redirect the paint and maybe give us some extra neat composition to the painting and so forth. So I usually go off the rails when I do an introduction, and today is no exception. So I'm going to give you some names from the past that are influencing me on this pour. Sir Isaac Newton, Galileo, Neil Armstrong, and Christopher Columbus. Leprechauns, Confucius, Santa Claus. Now let me just take a minute to tell you why those people have given me this inspiration. First of all, Sir Isaac Newton. He had to do with gravity. We all use gravity while we're tipping canvases, so his ideas were very important to paint pouring. Galileo. His ideas were mainly about physics. We have viscosity, volumes, density, friction, and I have to admit I didn't remember any of this from my high school physics, so I looked up some of these terms so I would sound smart. I do want to tell you a little story about the only thing I remember from my physics class in high school is Mr. Hendricks on Fridays would have films, and the films would help us to understand what we had learned the previous week. So it was Friday, and they over the blackboard was this big metal thing, and rolled up in there was the screen. So it was time for the video. He went to pull down the screen, and the whole thing came down from the ceiling. The big metal thing came down, hit him in the head. He was staring around like this with his eyes blinking, seeing stars. It's a lot of gasps in the room at first, and then he recovered pretty quickly, thank God. But so we had about 10 minutes of laugh after that, and of course, in a nanosecond, it was around the school. So he was a great teacher, a nice guy, but he had to put up with a lot of ribbing for a while in school. But that's about the main thing I remember from physics. But physics is very important in paint pouring. Chemistry. I really don't know any famous chemists, but chemical reactions are important to paint pouring. You need correct mixtures in your paints, your pigments, cell activators, water, Floetrol, and so forth. So that's very important to get the effects you're looking for. But the only thing I remember from chemistry is about 6 of the elements in the periodic table, and there's many more than that, so that I didn't retain that too well. But again, I have a little story that is the main thing I remember from my chemistry class in high school. As you all know, you do experiments, chemical reactions. That's what we have in paint pouring, and that's what they teach you about a lot in chemistry. So they gave us a beaker, some chemicals, a Bunsen burner, and we were told to do this experiment. So I put the chemicals in the beaker, glass beaker, picked up the Bunsen burner, fired it up, heated up the beaker, and it got nice and hot. And it was starting to smoke, and I think, hey, this is great. I'm actually getting a chemical reaction. So I'm going to show the class. So I reached down to pick it up, and these 3 fingers basically got burned to medium rare because I must have been doodling in class. We were told to put on gloves before we touched the beaker after it was heated up. So anyways, I tried to pretend it didn't hurt. Of course, everybody knew it did, and they thought, that crazy Phil again. He never listens in class. So that's pretty much what I remember from chemistry. But you pick up things along the way to use in paint pouring. A couple guys, Neil Armstrong. He was the first man on the moon. He went boldly where nobody else went. And that's what, of course, I'm doing today. I'm going boldly with my barrier pour experiment. I'm not sure if anybody's ever gone here or not. I'm saying they haven't, but maybe I'm really more like Christopher Columbus. He went boldly searching for the New World. Thought he found it, really didn't, because there was Native Americans here 10,000 years before he reached America, and the Vikings were here 500, 600 years before he reached America. So maybe I'm more like Christopher Columbus. I think I found something new. It probably isn't new. It's probably been done many times. I just don't know it. But either way, I admire both of them. Leprechauns are important in paint pouring. Leprechauns mean luck. And many times you can do everything right. You need a little luck to have it turn out the way you want or as nice as you want. So I'm hoping there's a leprechaun on my shoulder. Confucius, he's a very important person from the past. He had lots of wisdom. Failure is the teacher of success. Those who never have failed have never tried. Now I have to admit, I don't know if he really said that, probably didn't. I made it up to sound like, I read his books or whatever he had back then. But I think it still applies today. Last but not least, Santa Claus. Now what in the world does Santa Claus have to do with paint pouring? Absolutely nothing. But I wanted to give him a shout out. I wanted to ask him to subscribe, and maybe he'll bring me a few more presents at Christmas. So this is my crazy off-the-rails introduction to my barrier pour experiment. Kathy's going to shortly do one with a tree ring technique on this one. We're going to try a few different techniques. Tree ring pour, a flip cup pour, and I call a lateral pour across the top and let it flow down. So we're going to see how this works. Hopefully it's something new, interesting, and works out well. Thank you for indulging me in this introduction. I know I can be a little off the wall and crazy, but I hope that is interesting and gives you a kind of a feel for what we're going to do today. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's now Kathy's turn, by Paint Pouring by Kathleen Miller. How do I follow that act? Seriously, come on. Anyways, Phil has all these ideas, so this morning he rushed downstairs at 6:30 and said, Kate, I got a really great idea. We're going to do a barrier pour tree ring technique. I go, what? What is a barrier pour? Well, that's where you have the mountains on the canvas. You know what that stuff? Phil, what stuff? The stuff that you make, it hardens? You mean the pumice? Yeah, that's it. I said, okay, whatever. That's good. Do you have the paints made? No, I don't have the paints made. Well, why can't we use the ones up here? They're not the right consistency. Well, we could try. No, we're not trying it. So I went for my walk in the mall with the dog, came back home. He's still sitting there going, you got to make the paints. So I made the paints. So anyways, here's his barriers. And they look like little mounds, and that was the pumice. So you can take that pumice and you can mix it with any color paint you want. You can paint it after. This is not even hardened. So hopefully it doesn't just fall off the barrier reef. So anyways, my colors that I'm using is yellowish green by Amsterdam, magenta by Liquitex, iridescent gold deep fine, which I use this a lot back home in my acrylic paintings. This is a different type of golden, where it's they have fine and they have another grade, but it's a very, very pretty color when it's mixed.
Only the best for my experiments.
Only the best. That's why I'm doing this, I guess. Titanium white by Amsterdam and turquoise by Amsterdam. And I already have them in my cup that we're going to attempt here, because this is Phil's idea. He told me how to do this.
This one's going to be a ring pour starting around the center barrier.
So here we go.
There we go.
Oh, we almost went over the barrier. Oh.
No, that's okay. Yeah, go around the barriers once you get there. Until you have enough paint on there.
I'm just going to use all of it.
As long as you keep going around the outside, it should work.
Do you ever sleep?
Well, I can't sleep when I'm thinking of this stuff.
Okay. Cup pour. Cup pour.
Or
So there you go.
Confucius say, no sleep when you have an idea.
Okay, Confucius say, okay, Phil, this your gig. You put these gloves on and you start tipping.
Confucius say, no way, Jose.
Okay, whatever. Got to get rid of those bubbles. I'm going to need a Starbucks after this, let me tell you. Okay, what do you want me to do,
I'm going to need a
Confucius?
double espresso.
Well, yeah, you're going to need something. So what do you want me to do now?
Well, I guess you tip because
You want me to tip?
that's what you do with a ring pour. I
Okay.
think, I don't really know, but it seems like it would be the thing to do.
This is your gig, so see, I'm letting you in charge
gonna
instead of
try
me
to-
in charge.
Try to get it around the barriers and see if the barriers can do some interesting things with it.
Well, the barriers definitely stop it from.
Well, that's what they call it, a barrier.
Flowing.
That's what they call it, a barrier. It's supposed to flow around the barrier
That's what it's
and
doing.
stretch out some of the rings.
That's what it's doing.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like that idea. That's what I dreamt about last night.
I thought you would dream about me.
I
Well,
didn't say- I
but
didn't
that
say-
would be
I
a
didn't say I
nightmare.
had
I knew you were. I see. I knew you were
I'm
going to
glad-
say a
I'm
nightmare
glad you said it.
because I could read your mind. I knew you were going to say that. You are such. You know what, Santa Claus? You might get coal.
Wow.
Yeah. Well. Watch out. God. Mr.
That's not-
Columbo.
That's not a good angle because it's too dark from that angle.
I know, just stay put, would you?
Oh, look at that. Okay, we're getting some interesting stuff on here now.
Composition.
Composition. Stuff is the technical term.
Stuff is Phil's term. Yeah, see, those barriers really make it go in different directions.
Yeah, that's just what I was
Dreaming
hoping it
about.
would do. Yes, exactly. Looks exactly how I dreamt it.
It's kind of cool.
It is. Look at that.
I
Look
mean,
at
it's
that.
really kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, kind of show the barriers and how it kind of stopped some of it up and stretched it when it went past. Changed some colors.
Colors are pretty.
Yeah.
I like that.
Since these barriers aren't dry, is there a way to kind of maybe smooth out the top of that one?
Barriers are supposed to be bumpy.
Well, that one has a big crater in it. I don't like it.
Oh.
I'm just asking.
Well, why don't you touch it? You can do anything you want when it's
Oh,
wet.
yeah. Okay. That's fine. I just wanted to get rid of that. And I thought that turned out. This turned out real nice.
Colors are really, really pretty.
Yeah.
The only thing, it's coming off the sides here, which,
It's coming off the sides.
yeah, but that's okay.
Oh, you can touch that up. Was it too thin?
Might have been.
A little too thin? Okay.
Might have been, but you don't know.
Well, you
But
can
yeah, well, you
you can
can-
finalize that
That's easy.
when it's dry a little
That's
bit. so-
easy.
Okay. Well, I think this is a
I
little
think we got it.
experiment with a barrier pour using the tree ring technique. I like it. I think it was successful, and it's just something something different and new, and it was exciting to kind of see what actually would happen.
Okay. Well, everybody, you know the routine. Subscribe, hit the bell, share if you'd like to. Give it a thumbs up. Don't ever do thumbs down. Well, you can if you really don't like it, but I prefer the thumbs up. And
Wait, I just want to mention something about, we really appreciate, all the comments we're getting, questions and comments. Sometimes we're a day or two late getting back to you. We apologize for that. This past weekend we were at a 3-day art fair, so that kind of set us behind. And of course, family life every once in a while interferes with art life. So please, be patient with Kathy getting back to you, and please keep those comments and suggestions coming.
okay, until the next time, everybody, bye.